Hello and welcome to the video. You join us in the South Pacific. We're currently in the 737-800. You can see here with the Delta livery. Whereabouts in the South Pacific? Well, it's a little place that I've never been to before or heard of, in all fairness, known as San Cristobal. Where is that, you may ask? Well, perhaps the easiest way to describe it in a way most people will understand is you go to Chicago and you just go due south, straight down in a south line. At some point, you'll get, we're in North America, right? We come down, we go through the Gulf of Mexico, that big area of sea. We continue going down south. There's that little squiggly bit as North America joins onto South America. Keep going south. We end up in the sea, the Pacific side, so on the western side now of South America. And there, this small group of 3 islands. We're currently on one of those 3 islands again, with the we'll look at the ICAO code in the middle. These 3 islands are so close together that I just thought, I've never been here. Let's hop from one to the other. So we'll see how quick. Each of the runways, rather, I believe, is to be about a mile long. So let's get on and inside. I'm not going to do it as a proper flight plan. The flights are too short for that. I thought it'd be more fun just to hop, skip, and jump. And so the ICAO code for those, if you ever want to go, is Sierra Echo, Sierra Tango. And so once we get the aircraft, I'll tell you what, let's come over here. We'll get the ground power unit connected. We'll come up top and we'll get ground power on. Battery switch, we'll turn that on. We'll get the nav systems aligning, and now that that's underway, we'll get that I always like my lights on. Arm the emergency exit. We'll put logo and nav lights on. We'll put the smoking signs on. And with that, now we'll make a start. And so the time here is, of course, Zulu time. So coming up to 10 past 8, which means, because I'm now in summertime here in the UK, it's more like 10 past 9. Or 9 minutes past, if we want to be precise. Where we are local time, it would seem, is 9 minutes past 3 in the afternoon. Alright, so let's take a look then at where we are. So airport page. And then I'll be able to show you as well how short this flight hop is. So SEST, San Cristobal, that sounds good. Airport page. And yes, so here we are. So 6,000 feet is roughly a mile, 1,840 meters. So, a little further. And if we come over to the map page, I'll be able to show you as well just how short this flight is. So if we come across to... let's just stay low, because Navigraph low. So here you see it. So if I zoom out first of all, this here is South America. Here's North America. So I was describing here Chicago, come down south. There's the Gulf of Mexico, south. There's that squiggly bit south, and we're now in the, the Pacific. I should have perhaps shown that before. Never mind. So here we go. And so you can see there's a lot of routes here direct into, I don't know, what's this? Colombia, is it? Or Ecuador? I'm not great at geography. One of those countries down there, which is a very lazy way and perhaps a little offensive of describing it, but I'm sure if they were to look at a map of Europe, they'd probably be just as confused as to where places like Germany and France become Belgium and Switzerland and all the rest of it, Poland. In any case, we're here, San Cristobal, so we're looking to manually fly over here. So if we look at the airways, these 3 islands are actually connected up with airways. We've got Whiskey 17, Whiskey 21 and Whiskey 26 that form this bit of a triangle here. But we can see from the distances, we're talking about 50 miles per jump or 80 miles if we're to take the longest, but we're going to jump. So 2 flights of 50 miles. Something else I'm looking into are the minimums we see here on the low. That's these numbers here. So we've got 4,300 in this particular square. Here we've got 4,400. And then finally we've got 7,900. So the tallest of the hills, if you like, is in this square. If we see that square is actually just beyond the airport. So in terms of our entire operating area today is 4,400 feet. And so we know we can descend down to there no matter what. If we get close to Isabela, which will be our end destination, and for whatever reason we become disorientated, we can't see IMC, we will then have to climb, let's just use round numbers, 8,000 feet, 7,900. We'll go 8,000 to be sure there. Anyway, because the distances are relatively short, it'll be like climb up 10,000 feet and then more or less time to come back down. I don't even think we'll be able to pick up much beyond 250. In fact, usually when distances are short like this, aircraft get permission on a case-by-case basis, and it's almost always granted, to rather than try and climb up to 10,000 and then fly fast, they'll stay at like 4,000 or 5,000 feet and get permission to go at like 300 knots or whatever at that height, just to save a bit of time. And I think we'll do that as well. So we'll go, I'll tell you what, we'll climb at 5,000. So let's go there. So we'll set that in for our climb today is going to be up to 5,000. Next one, let's find out how high we are. And just before we do, let's start loading up the aircraft with our fictitious load. Again, I don't have a flight plan, so these numbers are in. We see the fuel on board is currently very low. It is a hop, skip, and a jump. We're not looking to refuel. Our alternate will simply be the other airfield, you know, so we've got our departure and our arrival, and our alternate is just going to be the other air. You know, we've got 3 airfields altogether. Our first, our second, and our third. And always the other one is going to be the alternate. And so there's always going to be enough fuel to get to the other. I would say £7,000 is more than enough. Because again, I'm thinking from here to the first landing. And then from there, we need to have enough to get to the second bit and then divert. I think £7,000 will be more than enough. Payload, we'll just go fictitious, but let's make it pretty heavy. We'll go £25,000. Again, it's not overloaded. It's heavy. And we can see there distributed between males, females, and kids. I've actually put a kid up in first class, which is a little unusual. I never saw it, certainly, but that isn't to say it can't happen. It's just I never saw it. All right, let's request a fuel.
Ground flight deck hose is connected and starting refueling.
And we're going to make up our flight plan as we go. So we'll turn the lighting on. We'll turn the lighting on over here. And where are we? Here we go. Okie doke. So nav system is aligning. Let's clear out the error there, and we've got enter IRS position, which we will come into. We'll clear that clearly. That's just wanting us to know where the plane is. So our reference airport is where we are currently, which is the code Sierra Echo Sierra Tango. Boom. IRS position. So you can see here south 0546, west 8937. So pretty much on the equator then, and about 90 degrees west of, well, 0 is basically here where I am in London, UK. So not that I'm in London, but yeah. All right, so here we are. GPS position south 054, west 89. Airport position south 54, west 89. So I'm happy that the GPS is reading correctly. Left and right are in agreement, so we'll go off the GPS position, which is always going to vary a little bit based on where the center of the airport is. Route of Sierra Echo Sierra Tango, and our destination is going to be a place called Galapagos or Isla Baltra. Isla Baltra, Galapagos. I think it's the island of Baltra to a place called Galapagos. And what's interesting is the airport is actually just off the main islands on, I don't know if it's an artificial island or just a miniature island right next to the main one. Either way, I find it interesting. It is detached. Either way, I can perhaps show. Well, we'll see it in any case when we're coming into land. So there we go. So there's the destination. Runway, we'll just, rather the flight number, we'll just go with 4452. Just make one up. Runway depends on the wind, doesn't it? So let's see if we can pull some wind in. So Sierra Echo Sierra Tango. So let's come up to data link and request the weather. Sierra Echo Sierra Tango and send. And hopefully we'll get something other than that there's no weather available, and we do. Fantastic. So we can see here altimeters are 2978, so that's a good place to start. So 2978 is now set. Winds 140 at 10 knots, so blowing from the southeast, which means if with there blowing. From there, we'll be taking off runway 17. And so runway 17 it is. And we saw the heading there was 167 on the heading. I'll also put that on my side on the course. Your side will refer if we need to anything else, which we probably will. Alright, let's come to the plan page then, and again with us not just loading a full route in.
Ground to flight deck, fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
Fantastic. Okay. So let's take a look. So departures for Sierra Echo, Sierra Tango, runway 17, as we've said, that gives these options. But it does have a few SIDs to pick from, so not expecting that for such a small runway, but we do. So I'm just going to pick on something that's vaguely, so you see here, this here is the wrong direction. This here heads towards South America mainland. We're wanting to go basically up in this direction, so that's no good. We've got this option here. Now these are a little shorter, which is an option, but still not really suitable. We've got this one here, which is the same, but for the other runway. There we've got a San Cristobal 2 departure, and here we've got San Cristobal 2 Alpha. Well, we are taking off in this direction, so this is the only real suitable one. So we'll take this one. So it's the San Cristobal 2 Alpha departure, also known as the SCV2A. So we'll dial in that beacon 13.1 and then we'll go plug it in. So nav, we've got 13.1 and there's the SV2A that we were talking about. Okay, boom. Route. Once we get there, we're then hopping across to our destination, which is, if we take a look over here, just take a look on the map view. It's this way here, so we're along the Whiskey 17 airway. And so if we come over here to the route page now, I'm just going to go Whiskey 17. And that brings us out. If we take a look over here at the next VOR, which is GLV. So we'll put that in. Golf Lima Victor. Boom. And that's accepted in. I was going to say correctly. Yeah, I guess it's correct. There we go. And so that's in there. Boom. Alright, so once we are at Golf Lima Victor, it's time to approach at Sierra Echo Golf Sierra, or our destination. Wind is probably going to be a similar direction. Again, we're talking 50 miles. And we've got the choice. We've got a few here. We'll take a little look. So Sierra Echo Golf Sierra. Let's have a quick look. Sierra Echo Golf Sierra. Approach. And so it's going to be between the 1-4s. So we've got this one here. Now bearing in mind we are approaching from the Whiskey 17 we see here. This is Whiskey 21. So we're coming more from this direction, but I'm sure there may be something similar. We could do I'm sure I could just do a 10 DME arc and join it. I may go with that one unless we get something that's more suitable. I certainly don't want that one. We've got the RNP Zulu. This is, I'll tell you what, this is a nice option. I like this one, the RNP Zulu. And we'll look at joining Golf Sierra. I see no reason. This is going to be pretty close to where we are. Golf Sierra 224. Mind you, our route takes us straight to the VOR. I'll tell you what, I'm still going to go with this one because I like it. We're going to try it. So we'll disconnect from our airway and come towards this at some point. And so, what's the name of it? The RMP Zulu 14. So the RNAV Zulu 14. There we go. Transition 105 or 224. I think we'll probably be a little closer to 105, so let's just go with 105 for now. And we'll activate that. Boom. Alright, so we're going to fly the leg initially. So if we take a look here, step step. The leg takes us from over here all the way up to the VOR. I realise that's a bit of a mess. Let's zoom in a little bit. So we're all the way to here. But obviously for our approach, that's no good. We need to join this Golf Sierra 105. And you can see that's very conveniently positioned there along the way. So as we come here, we'll disconnect from our direct to this waypoint. We'll switch over to 105. And then that nicely brings us over, and in blue there, if we have to go mist, we see that there. Okay, that's all done. It's raining pretty nastily now, so let's get the wipers on. Let's have a quick look up here at our RNAV. That seems, status-wise, is now all good. And so I see no reason now why we can't start up. So let's get the pumps on. We had the sign that the fuel's all in. Let's get the signs on. And APU starter switch is on. We'll set that to the APU so we can see as soon as it's ready to go. So far it's 0, and we'll ask to close up outside, so we'll get rid of the stairs, close the doors. Lighting for takeoff and landing, we'll go for medium as well, and we'll just welcome everybody.
Good afternoon, folks. From the cockpit, I'd like to welcome you on board. We're ready.
Switch over to the map view here. I keep getting a caution light coming on. Flight controls, electric fuel. That's understandable.
Traffic control, and we should be underway. It's our pleasure having you on board with us today. Sit back, relax.
Temperatures 26, dew point 24, so no risk of icing. 2978, we are set. Winds, we have briefed, is down the runway, so we'll be taxiing out. Turning right towards the north, turning back round, and then taking off into a south-southeasterly direction, aka runway 14, which happens to be runway 16. Winds are 140. There we go. Which happens to be 167 degrees. Could even be runway 17 now. I think of it. Indeed, it is runway 17. Okay, TCAS. Sorry for that. Is set 4452, same as the flight number. We'll turn alt off now because we're about to move. Come look up top. APU is ready. So we'll stick that on the bus with it. All the fuel pumps can go on. And then we'll ask ground services to disconnect the ground power. Taking a look now, we can see APU is powering the systems here. We'll turn the window heat on my side, your side. Your damper can come on as well. Coming down here, APU bleed will open that. Duct pressure goes up, settles, and with it packs my side and your side both on. Trim air can come on with it. We'll just turn these temps down a bit. It's kind of hot. Hydraulic pumps, because we are ready to go. And with it, we're looking good. Some flickers there with the low pressure, but I think we'll be okay. And on this one, I don't think we need a push back. We can get ready to go. We're going to have to put some more wipers on. We're going to put the anti-collision light on. And with it, see no reason why we shouldn't start right now. We'll make sure the collision lights are off once we are at that time. And so we'll ask the tower for permission to start. They say, yes, we can. And with it, let's turn the packs off. And engine number 2, here we go. While we're waiting for that, we'll work out our weights real quick. Hang on, we're about to put fuel in. 21, 22, 23, 24, and in it goes. Plan, we're not really planning as it were per se. We'll just, let's just go for £3,000. Cruise, as we've already said, 5,000 feet. Reserves, as long as we've got 4,000, we should be able to get anywhere. Cost index, I'm going to go for, we'll go for 28. Okay, and I'm going to fill in the rest. ISA deviation, temperature's a little higher than usual, so we'll just go for like 8 degrees because of where we are with regards to the equator. Okay, cruise wind, I didn't fill that in. We know it's coming from the north. I tell you what, we'll just put the winds for the airfield in. That's going to be better than nothing at all, so we'll go 140 at 10. Of course, this is anything but legit and proper, but you know, if you know something that's halfway right versus, you know, they will say aviation, if you can make a decision right now that's 90% correct, rather than 1 in 2 minutes that's 100% correct, they always would rather that. Anyway, engine number 2 is up and running. Let's start number 1 with it. And while we wait for that, all of this looks good. N1 limit, we'll go, I'm not going to derate it, but we'll reduce climb to climb 1, takeoff. Flaps 15, fuel in on engine 1. CG 325, so that means the trim wheel all the way forward. And there's the stop. So decision speeds 122, 23 and 35. We'll lock those in. And so if we lose an engine 35, it is wet, and so V1 speed I'm going to reduce actually to like 102 knots. It's a relatively short runway, it is wet. So yeah, if anything goes wrong before then, we stop. After then, we've got to go rotate on 23, and if we lose an engine, it's 135 on climb outs. Engines are up and running. We'll get them on bus. Your side, my side with that APU can disappear. APU bleed can go, packs can come back on, isolation valve auto, and if we come up here, probe heat on, and with that we're all good to go. Gen 1 looks good, and Gen 2 looks good, we'll leave that there. Okay, let's go. Turn off and taxi lights on. Quick look at the flight controls. Forward, neutral, aft, neutral, rolling left, neutral, rolling right, neutral, and right rudder, okay, left rudder, okay, and with that we're all good to go. It's more just to check I've got my joystick plugged in correctly. Rain's all but stopped, so let's turn those off. Wipers, engines can go on to continuous, there we go, and with that, parking brakes off. Flaps 1, 2, 5, 10, 15. The reason I'm going flaps 15 is it is a very short runway and it is wet. Not that we couldn't go flaps 5, but you know, when things are short, I'd rather not. It's not one where we're going to have to turn the bleeds off or anything, but let's turn the transponder on. We've been clear for takeoff. Auto brakes RTO, caution light off. Fixed lights on, strobe lights on, wing lights on.
We'll be taking off in just a few minutes. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for departure.
And we're now going to make our way to the far end of the runway.
The cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Transponder is, or rather the nav radio is tuned in at my side. I'm just thinking while we're making our way to the other side. SEGS, we do got one there, 12.3, so we'll tune that in as well on your side, and I will also put it on my side on the standby. There we go. Palm trees and cars what appear to be driving through the forest. I'm not sure how many cars there would be on this island. It doesn't look huge. Okay, so RTO is set, flaps are set, trim is set. In fact, we'll go down here. config check is happy. All done. Briefing, if it goes wrong, just we'll climb up to 2000 and go straight ahead. Assuming all goes well, it's straight up to 5. And if it does go wrong, we'll follow the approach back to return. Speaking of which, by the way, yeah, so it's back to 4000 ordinarily, but if it goes wrong, straight ahead, we'll level off at 2. Okay. So with that we're set, transponder is already on, strobe lights, landing lights are on, and takeoff checks complete. Alright then, my side, and 3, 2, 1. Starter switches are on, continuous, flight director, my side, your side, auto throttle arm, all the landing lights are on. Let's start the clock because I always forget. And with that we'll wind up the engines. Engines are stable, toga. Here we go. Max power takeoff. Bleeds are on, so it's not a bleeds off. We could, of course, get rid of those. Needing just a little bit of right rudder to stay straight here. 80 knots. V1, there's decision speed. We're going.
Rotate.
There we go.
Positive rate.
Here. And there's 20 degrees.
400.
Climb.
$1,000.
And there's the thrust back to climb. We'll put the autopilot on and we'll go flaps 5. We'll just bug up to 160. Weather radar on. There is a little bit of rain round here. RTO can come off. We'll get rid of the draggy lights as well. LNAV. Go for 200 knots. Above 4,000 altimeters. We didn't actually check if that was the case, but transalt is indeed 4, so there we go. We transition through and flaps 1. We'll go for 220. Flaps up, and with that gear lever off, coming up here, we'll turn the runway and turn off, taxi off, landing lights remain on because we're below 10, start switches can come off, wing lights will leave all that, smoking signs off, and with that cabin crew is released. Just going to wait for the turn to complete, then we'll pick up the pace. Apparently we're using reserve fuel, which I find difficult to believe. We do got 6,000 on board. It reckons we're going to be using reserve. Back to the legs page. I think it's more to do with our route not really connecting up. So I think at this point we'll just go direct to, if you recall, where we were going. There's this airway, which unfortunately isn't shown on this particular diagram, but the option was the airway brings us through this one here, Golf Sierra 105, and would eventually bring us direct to the VOR. So I think if we go direct now to Golf Sierra 105, see no reason why not. You can see it there now on the map. So there's our route. Golf Sierra 105. So let's bring that up top now. And that will mean that we're routing slightly off the airway, but I think that's fine. And so with that, let's pick up the pace. Let's go for 300 knots. Golf Sierra 105 wants us at or above flight level 80, which is interesting because that would throw us off. We were planning to go at 5,000, but in that case, we best go up to 8. And so let's make that change here and now. 8,000. We'll get the level change in. And cruise. And that information has been updated. Climb thrust is in. Everything else is set. Looking good. 25 miles to go. Top of descent is about 30. And so when we land, it's going to be a quick, I wouldn't say, yeah, I guess turnaround is the word, but it's going to be very quick. You know, we're not pulling in, we'll just, you know, few passengers off, close the door and carry on. That's how we're going to go. So let's take a look at this with regards to climb. So if it's missed approach, it's 3,000 feet. Airport elevation here is 200. So we'll set that. And there we go. We're already at cruise now, 8,000 feet. And there's the 300 knots. I'll tell you what, I see no reason why we can't pile another 20 on. Final approach course for where we're landing is 140. So we'll put that in, and I'm going to switch the VOR over now from where we're coming from to where we're going. Just to keep things tidy, we'll put 140 on your side as well. So that gives us the beacon there. I may even turn VOR 2 off on that screen. Don't see any need to repeat it, even though this is an RNAV approach still. So 8,000, 5,000, 2,800, then straight on into the final approach. It is a relatively shallow final, 2.9 degrees. Minimums 520 barometric, 375 on the Radalt. .375 set. Let's get the weather information for Sierra Echo Golf Sierra. It's all going to be very, very quick now. Sierra Echo Golf Sierra, boom, boom. There we go. Winds 140 at 14. So yeah, we were correct to assume they were going to be the same. Little stronger actually than the other islands. 3 or 4 knots. Visibility clear. Scat clouds at 1,600 feet, and then at 20,000. Temperatures 31 degrees, man, that's hot. QNH 1010, or altimeters 2985. So we'll set up ahead of time. So temperature, or rather the pressure, is a few notches lower than it was at our departure. Alright, top of descent, just, yeah, 10 miles away or so, and so I'm going to drop down to VNAV speed at this moment in time. Let the autopilot settle itself accordingly. A quick look through, this connects up all the way, which is great. Descend information forecast, as we've said, was 29.85. Make sure that's in. And the winds were, we'll just put it in like 2,000 feet, 140, till 14 at the ground, so typically it's going to be a little higher. We'll go like 140 at 20. And hopefully that'll help a little bit. Landing speed then, we'll go for a flaps. It's a relatively long runway. Let's have a little look. What's the airfield actually look like itself? So we're coming in from the top, so yeah, so a quicker stop would be better. So we'll go for a flaps 40. Alright, top of descent just 5 miles away. And let me just remind ourselves what we're dealing with. Well, down to 2,500 initially, so let's get that in and set. We'll get the wing lights, well, the wing lights are still on, landing lights are on, okay, great. We'll get the turn off lights on. Speed now dropping below 250. It is in there for 230. Now hopefully all of this will sew up nicely. We've got this DME arc thing. Left-hander. I wish you could manually program those arcs into the FMC yourself. I don't think you can. They've got to be part of the route. Of course, knock yourself out and create waypoints in a sort of arc, but you can't just program him in an arc. As far as I know, I'm sure it will come, but at least as of now you can't. Yeah, so this is the main island I was talking about. And if you look here, you can see the runway's actually on this little diddy bit at the top. This is by no means a big island in any case, but I just found it interesting it was separated. I think I'll drop the height down to 14. And this here must be the island. There's the little disconnect. I don't think it's that one. It's got to be this one. This could be, in fact, this is it here. Yeah, so we'll pull up at the terminal. We'll shut off the left-hand engine. Actually, I think you got to shut them both off, but I'll tell you what, we'll shut them both off. We'll see how quick we can do it. I think if you keep one engine running, the logic of the air, even if it's the the engine over there that's on the other side, I still think it interferes with the logic. We do have a decel point here. It's not a restriction on the airspeed, thankfully, but it still just feels like we're coming in a little hot. Fuel is down to like 5.5 thousand pounds, so I was hoping to have a little, I don't know. Now it should be fine. Again, I'm thinking for the next hop and then having reserves in. We'll zoom in, and this is going to get quite tight here. Altimeters will go local 2985. We are coming in a little hot. Oh no, no. The speed that it wants to go at now is starting to peter out, so I think it's fine. I'm thinking flaps 2 to assist the decel. go for auto brake 3 just because it needs to be a fast. It doesn't need to be a fast stop, but you know, just so we can turn around and get towards the runway quick. Okay, here's the turn on to final. And I'll arm the approach. Height's looking good, speed's dropping off nice. We'll arm the boards.
$2,500.
Copy that. I think it's reading a little off because we're in a turn. Right, approach has got it. I just call it the fake approach course as well as the glide path. Missed approach is 3,000, so that's now dialed in. We're about rolling out momentarily. View looks good. Runway in sight. Let's go flaps 5 and bug accordingly. 161. Gear and 15 when we are about 1200. We've been idling down for a while. We'll assume now we're being cleared to land, so we'll put all the forward facing lights on, taxi light on as well. Cabin crew take your seats. There's the gear, there's 15. Bug according. So I'm going to disconnect the auto throttle and take that myself.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Perch, altitude set.
There's 25. We're going for flaps 30, which is 131 plus 5, so 136. A bit more power. There's 30. And disconnect the autopilot now. I've got it. And flaps 40. Gear down, flaps full and locked. Auto brake 3. Speed brakes arm, landing check complete.
500. Approaching minimums. 400. Minimums.
Continue. Power line, a little inconvenient here. We're going to have to come a little higher than the approach would like. I'll just slow it down a tad so we can limp over.
300.
It's fine, actually, I have to say. Alright, down we go.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Cutting the power.
10. 5.
Down we go. Reversers. Green.
$80 knots.
Idle reverse. Manual braking. Reversers off. Bit of a cheer from the crowd, which was nice. Get rid of the flaps.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Tiller to the left.
With your seatbelt securely fastened until the captain has parked the aircraft at the gate and
Check
turned off
the
the seatbelt
power.
sign. This will be your one
Reverses.
and only indication that it's safe for you to get up and move about the cabin.
And
Please be reminded to
timer
use caution
off.
when
That
opening
was
the overhead
18
bin
minutes.
to prevent injury from articles that may have shifted during landing. You may now use your mobile phones and other handheld electronic
brakes
devices
off.
while we pack to the gate. However, your
APU.
laptop computers and larger
On the
electronics
go.
must remain stowed. We invite you to visit delta.com for all
I
your
forgot to
future
put the
travel
start
needs,
switches on for
including
landing,
checking
but
in for
never
a
mind.
flight
We got away with it.
and
Probe
managing
heat
your
and window
If
heat
any of
can
you
go
should have
off as
questions
well,
regarding
just for
ground
now.
transportation, baggage claim, or any other information, a uniformed Delta agent leading this flight will be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. On behalf of Delta Sky Team, our global partners, and especially your flight crew, we'd like to thank you all for flying with us. We've enjoyed having you on board and look forward to the opportunity to serve you once again.
Okay. Flight director off your side and my side. Departure heading, that was something else. 140, there we go. Nice tower. Wow, those wind farm blades looking pretty massive. Okay, here we go. APU is on, we'll get it on the bus. 1, 2. Get the APU bleed on. Engine bleeds off. Isolation valve open. Coming in just a little hot there. And we'll just here for a very quick turnaround. So we'll go to the right and then we'll go left. And so I think here will do. I think that right there will be good. Alright, parking brakes set. APU's on, we've got it on thing, so we can shut down. Got it on the bus, I should say, on thing. Terrible way. Alright, engines 1 and 2 have been shut off. There we go. That light needs to be off as well. Turn off taxi lights. Oops, there we go. Off. Nav lights can stay on, wing lights and collision lights can come off as well, and with it, whoa, the signs can go and I can zoom in as well. Great, alright, so let's come over here, quick depart, then ground services, doors, 1, 2, 3, get the stairs. We don't even need to set chocks because it's going to be very fast. Right, so let's figure out then the changes real quick. Also just to get the transponder set over onto standby. Right, so the fuel is just what we've got anyway. But if we come over to the payload, the fuel actually happens to be 5153 payload. So again, we're just letting some people off. So let's go for like, I don't know, let's just go like that. Boom. Okay, and so with that, let's go from here. We'll restart the flight leg. Init ref, this is going to be very quick. So route is going to be, take a quick look on the map from where we are here, which is SEGS. And then we'll finish off at Isabela here, SEII. Boom, we'll stay the same flight number 44. Do you know what? We'll just put 3 on the end. 4453. So we'll increment it there as well. Runway for departure will be the same as what we've just taken off on, which is, or rather the runway we take off is the same we just landed on, which was 140. And the route is going to be, let's get rid of this from the old original depart, which we don't need. Search SCII. It's a much simpler airport here. We've got an NDB that takes us there. 246, we'll make sure that's dialed in. 246, seeing as it's the only NDB round here, we'll dial it in on both sides. Okay, that's set. In fact, I'm going to put it in on your side. IBL, so we are already picking it up. And we can see here the terrain is to the north and to the west. As we see here, 4,000 if we're to the east, 6,900 if we're to the west, based off the NDB. And because it is going to be a short flight, we'll put that in momentarily. With regards to the departure, though, let's come back over here. We don't need that one. If it does all go wrong, we'll go back through this here. SEGS. Let's just put this on real quick for departure purposes. This would basically take us back to where we came from, so that's no good. We've got this one here, which is a similar sort of thing for the other direction. And then we've got this Galapagos 3 departure, which will serve us nicely. We'll go for this one. It's the wrong direction, though. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, because there's nothing suitable there, I'm gonna get rid of that. We'll follow the actual missed approach procedure for what we've got, which is take off left hand, and then we'll go direct to. I think actually we'll just hand fly it. Well, I'll tell you what, that's what we'll do. We'll hand fly this route, but we will connect up to the arrival at the far side. So we'll just activate this. With regards to the arrival, it's going to be the only approach we've got is for runway 35. So let's go NDP 35, boom. And if we take a look over here, that's this one. So we're going to go direct to IBL, and that is. Put that in at the top. So direct to IBL, and then we'll look to intercept the final approach. All right, so IBL is in. Cruise, we've said let's just go 8,000. Okay, then we're clear of all the obstacles no matter what. So departure straight up to 8. Everybody's now in, so let's close up and then we'll go. So get rid of the stairs, close all the doors, signs on, hacks off, and start number 2, collision light on.
Flight attendants, prepare your doors for departure, please. Cross-check and all call.
Okay, great. Init ref, we've got that there. Reserve, just £2,000. Cost index, let's go for 20. 22, 23, 24. Fuel in. And because the engines are already warm, we won't need to wait at all for a departure on this. And because we're at the right end of the runway, we can get straight on. Cost index there, we've said 8,000 is what we're cruising at. Boom. Engine clicks off. 3, 2, 1. Let's start number 1. ISO deviation again because it's a much hotter than the 14 degrees and we're not flying that high. I think I'm actually going to go with 10 degrees this time. Boom. And the cruise wind is just vaguely 140 at, let's just go 12. again, if it's more correct than not, then, you know, it's better than not, right? Even though it's not perfect. That's the way I see it. You know, if you've got a 10 knot wind from north to south and the default is obviously everything 0, and then you guess, oh, well, I think it's 5 knots north to south. That 5 knots north to south, although it's not correct, is a lot better than 0 knots north to south. At least I think so. Right, engines are on, so let's get engine 2 on the bus, engine 1 on the bus, that's fine. With that, the APU can go. Turn-offs and taxi is on. APU bleed off. We'll get the packs back on. Isolation valve auto. Window heat and probe heat. All of that is on. Everything else there looks good. Parking brake off. Flaps 1, 2, 5. It's a long runway. Auto brake RTO. There we go. That's great. Right, N1 limit, we will derate this time just because it is a little longer. There we go. Takeoff, flaps 5, CG 475, looks to be about there. Lead speeds 22, 23, and 34. 34 set. It is a long runway, so I'm happy to abort at 122. RTO is set, flaps are set. Lights are on. Continuous starter switches are on as well.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Wing lights are on. Strobe lights are on. Flight directors, my side, your side.
Have a good flight.
Auto throttle. And transponder on as well. We'll put the weather on. I suspect we'll just keep the timer going. So quick glance to the right and left. Runway looks clear. All the landing lights are on. The only thing we don't need is the wheel well. Alright, here we go. And then once we're up, we'll make our way towards IBL. So 3, 2, 1. Engine stable. Toga.
knots.
Just realised that's the wrong one. It's the ET we want.
V1, rotate.
Up we go.
Positive rate.
Gear. Much quicker at flaps 5.
400.
Check. And let's make this right-hander.
1,000.
Copy that. Let's go flaps 1. Flaps in, wheels off, and let's plug up to 250. I think we'll just go on the heading for this one. We'll not use the FMC, just to keep ourselves proficient in that regard. We'll go for the flight level change. We'll put the autopilot on. Get rid of the draggy lights like that. Turn off, taxi lights can go. Starter switches can come off. Bring lights off. Oh, we'll release the cabin crew. Apologies for that bit of a mishmash there. Auto brake off. We're above 4, so we'll go standard. And we'll assume we are cleared once again for 320 knots. So we'll climb accordingly. Alright, so our end destination there, just 40 miles away. It's going to go very fast. So we've got a miniature amount of turbulence here. Nothing to be really concerned with.
1,000 to go.
Keep the fixed landing lights on. Yeah, so if we take a look at the plan sheet for Isabela, we see the NDB is basically at the runway, but the final approach fix is here, Fox 35, where we need to be 2,000 or above, which is, as we see here, 7 miles away from the NDB. So we could just join this and fly south. We are coming from this direction up here, so the other option I would say is to come at say from this sort of direction, and we'll just hook up with the final approach ourselves. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the final approach fix up at the top, and so you can see, so there's the runway. I zoom in there, and so this here would be our final approach. We're coming from this sort of direction here. Again, we're not tracking, we're going to fly this one manually. It's just to sort of give everybody an overview of what things look like. We're still making our way sort of directly towards the airport, which is fine. I mean, I tell you what, I might just go over the airfield and then do sort of the equivalent of a icon like this, and then just do a sort of a teardrop into land, which is not really copying what this is, but we'll see how it works. We can be there for 4,000 feet. See here, the NDB point goes towards the airfield. It's a couple of degrees to the left, so let's go. Top of descent 10 miles away. With regards to our approach, you can see we're getting pretty light. How long is the runway? Just remind us. It's relatively short, 4,900 feet. So we will go for the flaps full 126. Just wondering if we get data for this place with it being so small. We'll try it. SEII. Otherwise, we'll go with the same information as previous, which was 2985, if I believe. And there is no meta, so yeah, we'll stick with 2985. So descent forecast 2985, boom, and we'll go with that here as well. 2985. Exact. All right, so descend down to 4,000 we go. And we'll do this manual. So reduce to 240. So the approach, we've got that set up, NDB, we've got the information here, but we're still flying it manually. The minimums are 570 or 600 barometric. Let's go with the barometric. There's 600. What we do know is when we come in, it's 345 final approach. Set for the ADF as well. 345, 345. Minimums are set. Runway is 30 feet, so we'll drop that down to 50 to the nearest. Turn off lights, and so we don't forget, let's get the continuous starts on, and the we'll seat the cabin, because it's going to be pretty quick final approach. bring this in, and I think I'm going to center it up actually, because we're going to be flying with the airfield behind us momentarily. We'll put the terrain height map on as well, just in case. And your side can take over weather monitoring, although I don't suspect it's to be a problem. Drop down to 200. Yeah, so ref 126 plus wind, so we'll go for the 31. Auto brake is going to be, well, we'll go brake 3 if I need full. I'll go full. But we'll see if we can make it work with auto brake 3 with full reverse. Going up to 4,000 feet. And according to this, once we cross the NDB, we can continue descending. Standard going local. And I believe this lighter patch must be the runway. Indeed it is. Whoops, there we go. So runway is in sight. So let's say we've been cleared to land. We'll put all the forward-facing lights on, as well as the taxi light. Everything else there is good. Wing lights on as well. Everything's set for landing. In that regard, so it's flight control surfaces only. There we are, 200 knots. I'm going to go flaps 1, bug down to 180 accordingly. I'm going to disconnect the autopilot and do this manual. So we'll zoom in a little bit. And let's bug down to 2,000 feet. Whoops, that's a bit too far. Book for 210 on the heading. Alright, that'll do. Let's begin our descent then. Let's get rid of auto throttle and get that all the way off. Flaps 5 to assist with drag. We'll bug 160. Flaps 10. Here's the gear. Here's 15. Bug according. Quick look out the left window. Whoopsie daisy. Come on, can we see it? Not really. Let's start the left-hand turn. Flaps 25, and we'll bug. And we'll turn left now for final approach, which is 345 degrees. Final approach set.
2,500.
Right, missed approach is 4,000. That's set. Runway is in sight, and from here we'll just go visual. Auto brake armed. Speed brakes set. And there's flaps 40. And the approach speed is 126 plus the 5 ref.
$1,000.
Actually got a bit of a tailwind on this approach, which I guess is to be expected, but it's the only prescribed approach. We do actually have a circle to land, which is interesting. We could have really done the circle to land, but
500.
whatever. Minimums, we can see the runway, it's all good.
400.
I guess with that we don't need the ref.
300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Oh! Bottom came out a little bit. I guess we did need the ref. Either that or I don't think I had it trimmed right, really, in fairness. I didn't realise until the very end. Loads of room left. Manual braking. Idle reverse to the end. Let's get rid of the flaps. Start switches can come off. Knots ground with idle reverse. 19, 18. Brakes are going to be pretty hot after those two back-to-backs. Stop the timer, so half an hour total flight time. So yeah, here we are on the ground. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's return back to the tower. That's it. So until next time, take care. Bye-bye.